right. Welcome to another edition of My Checka, the show where I talk to dope people doing dope things. I have somebody super dope on the line, a childhood friend doing her thing. People don't know. I don't think people remember that you ran track.
Yes.
The pride of Gateway Technical. Now she's a dancer, author. I mean, you danced in how many different cities at this point?
Oh, I don't know, but I will say, because of, dancing, I've seen the world, all 50 states internationally. So I appreciate that, I was able to take my passion and make it my career. So
yeah. So Chloe Davis, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming to hang out with me and just talk about your life and what you've been doing.
oh, thank you. I mean, old time friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I know you a long time, man.
Long time.
So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
You were you born, raised in St. Louis, or where are your roots is here?
Absolutely. Born and raised in St. Louis. Yeah, I it's funny because I still like my parents still live in the same house that I grew up in. So Pasadena Hills, that's the area. But yeah, I'm born and raised. I went to Antioch Baptist Church. I know some shout outs out there. But I, went to Mount Providence, which was like, closed now. But
Yeah, from Mount Providence. I mean, that's a lot of people that went there on the
yeah,
low.
that's what I'm saying. It's like legacy. I'm also telling my age, but it's all right. But then Gateway Middle, then Gateway High, that was my school. And you talked a lot about track because yeah, I'm a track kid. Like my dad, John Davis, he was the coach at East St. Louis Senior High School. So I had to be a track runner as well. I ran for both Royal Knights. I ran for the Railers too, and also the Blues. But my senior year and in high school, I decided to do a program that actually took me over to Germany to train. So I went to Germany, trained a bit on the 100 hurdles. And when I came back, so this is what happened. When I came back, I decided that I was going to go to Normandy because that's where actually my childhood coach, as well as Coach Mack, who trained me a lot as well, was
so you transferred to Normandy?
I did. I transferred to Normandy and I was literally there for 3 months. So I got back to the US in January and I started school in like February because my mom was like, Chloe, we got to get you in school. Because at the time difference was huge. It was like a, 6-7 hour time difference. So I would be sleeping during the day and up at night. And my mom was like, girl, we got to get you in school before the cops come get me. So
right.
It's funny though. And I love how supportive my parents were because I went over to to Europe to really like hone in into my hurdles, my 100-meter hurdles. And when I came back, my coach had left Gateway, and so I was like, I need a coach to train. And so my dad was like, well, you're not coming to Eastside, even though Coach Fenoy was
I'll ask you that. Why didn't you go to Eastside and run under your dad?
He said, baby, no. So I said, I'm not gonna argue with dad. And then I was actually thinking about some other schools, but my mom was like, she's the brains. So she was like, what about Normandy? Coach O is there, Coach Mack is there. And I said, right. And she was like, and it's your neighborhood school, stop cheating and using addresses for this. But no lie, no, we had a house in the city, so I was cool. But so I was like, you're right. So I went to Normandy and that was a whole thing. It was Gateway was mad at me. But I have to
say, try to petition you or like say like try to stop.
Yes, you heard about this. Okay, so this hasn't gone away. So yeah, so I went to Normandy. I was a scholarship athlete, right? Or a scholar athlete. And so I was, my mom and dad wasn't playing. I had to be really good at my academics. And so when I came, and also Gateway was just amazing school, but when I came to Normandy, my GPA put me in the place of the salutatorian, right? So that's like the second highest ranking in the school. And there were a lot of people at Normandy that did not appreciate that I was coming in and moving people out of their rankings. And so, yes, there was a petition against me for being their salutatorian. But what I want to say is that my track team and my coaches were, even though we had literally, well, some I've known already, like I've known for a long time, but some we were just met, but they were really supportive of me. And they were like, they shut that, shit down real fast. And it was very supportive and was like, you can't petition, someone's GPA, right? Coaches were very supportive. So, that was a little uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie, but I love that track team. And I wanna say that year 2000, so I am telling my age, 2000, Normandy, Normandy Lady Vikings, we received second in the state of Missouri.
What? Y'all went to state that? Y'all went second in state that year?
We won second in state that year. We did. We had some outstanding athletes. And that year, I said I wanted to win state in the 100 hurdles, and I wanted to break the record, and I did it. That's exactly what I wanted. That was a goal I had all through high school. And, I did it. I broke the record twice, actually. So in the prelims or in my semifinals and the finals. So, it's interesting. And I guess, sharing that story is really a lot like who I am. It's like I'm goal oriented, right? And that my dad gifted me with that. He's very dedicated in setting goals and making sure you accomplish them, but also not being afraid to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to be able to, really, really evolve and grow, right? I did, going to Germany, that was such a beautiful experience, but I was also scared. I was 16 years old.
You're there by yourself. I mean, basically,
yeah, by myself. But I did have family, which was good. I had a cousin. I had two cousins that were there because they were in the military. So that was a great support. But yeah, no, I grew up really quick, right? Just leaving the country at 16, that was a big deal. But then coming back, making those hard decisions, loving Gateway, loving my friends there, wanting to, graduate with my friends, but just knowing that I had a goal and I wanted to win state, and how I was going to do that was with a good coach, and Coach O and Coach Mack were there, and we did it. Like the goal was set. So yeah, that was my journey with high school. And then I actually went to Hampton University and loved that. I pledged Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated, the best sorority. And I also, there again about like pushing. I wanted to be an NCAA All-American. I did it. But this time was in the 400 hurdles, and I didn't like that race, but I was good at it.
Well, I mean, because it was so too long.
It just hurts. Like, I mean, any 400 hurts, and then you have hurdles on top of that. That just hurts. But it's interesting because I'm talking a lot about track and field because, that is what I think St. Louis really knows me by, but also dancing. I danced the whole time. But I feel like when I was at Hampton, I ran track. I was on both an athletic and a athletic scholarship, but I was still really passionate about dance. And there was a company there, the Terpsichorean Dance Company. And I joined that, and that's what introduced me to this world of like Black dance. So when we talk about like Alvin Ailey and the company I was a part of, the Philadelphia Dance Company, Philadanco, or Cleo Parker Robinson, just so many different, dance companies around the country. That was always my love as well. So it's interesting because after I graduated from Hampton, I decided to get my master's, and I was going to Temple, and Temple is located in Philly. Yeah. Philadanco is there. So I had this idea. I said, yeah, I'm just gonna get my master's, and I'm also gonna dance with Philadanco. I thought it was
let me go back a little bit. Why didn't you continue track as a professional or anything along those lines?
Yeah, so a really big thing happened. So So in 2002, that's when I became an All-American in the 400-meter hurdles, NCAA Division I All-American. And I was progressing, but a big thing happened I want to say junior year, going into my senior year, but I was running and a girl stepped on the back of my Achilles when I was doing the 4x4.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that actually put me could have put me out, because I was injured, you know what I mean? I couldn't,
Yeah.
and my coach was actually like, you should redshirt. And I was like, I don't want to redshirt because I'm not trying to stay here another year. I'm ready to go, you know? So I actually, it's interesting because I did go back to NC's my junior year, but I had to train, I trained myself, and I actually was, because I was destined to go, but my coach was like, you're hurt, but I'm like, I'm gonna get better. So I actually thank my cousin who like really studies track and field, and he introduced me to like aqua aerobics, or just like aqua therapy, as far as like healing yourself and training in the water. So I would do that. And I remember my assistant coach was like, well, Chloe, you have only one more chance to qualify. And it was this local meet, and I did. I hadn't like touched a hurdle that whole season. But I was training myself in the water, and, you know, muscle memory. And so I qualified for NC's, and I went, but I was so scared because I just wasn't in shape. I wasn't prepared. And then I feel like that kind of did something to my spirit. So then the next year, a senior year, it just got harder. And I don't think I necessarily healed properly from my Achilles injury. And I remember actually when I graduated, my dad also retired that year, and I told him, I said, Daddy, I'm going to take a sabbatical from track and field. And he was hurt. He was like, what you mean? 2004, that was a big year. That was the Olympic year. And if anyone knows a little bit about, like, you know, when you're an athlete and you're like, you know, you are, you know, preparing yourself for that professional world, you know, you train 4 years. Like, we're learning about what's happening now with, you know, Tokyo, but you train 4 years. You literally train in a way that you peak in 4 years. And so that's what we were working on, but I got injured. And I think I got a little burnt out. You know, I had been running since a little girl, since like 6 years old, and I got burnt out. And, you know, I even asked myself, I said, well, what do you want to do? And I've always, like I said, my passion has always been dance. I feel like the challenge has always been track, right? And so I remember learning about Philadelphia, and I was like, you know what, that's what I'm gonna do. And so that's what happened. I like went to Philly. Well, it wasn't a perfect story, but I went to Philly, thought I was just gonna audition and get in the company.
So you just gonna show up as like, oh, it's me, Chloe.
I did.
You know, put me on.
I did. Who am I? Who am I? But you know, it was great because it was actually a start of a beautiful journey of like growing. When we talk about confidence, you know, confidence can be given to you, but it's not strong. When you grow confidence within self, that's what's strong and that's what's sustainable. I feel like, you know, if, you know, being in track and field and winning and working hard, you know, people praise you. You know what I mean? And then and confidence is grown that way. But I do remember in Hampton having to like build myself up, and also going, so this experience with Philadelphia, I remember auditioning and it was like, no, because I also didn't have a dancer body then. You know, I had a very like muscular body, not to say anything's wrong with that, but I was very like muscular and like a track body, very stocky, right? That's not, well, wasn't the ideal body for a dancer or a Danko doll. So, you know, I had to learn, but I did eventually get in the company.
So is it like an open thing where like, do you see all of the girls, or is it like a one-on-one where you walk in?
Oh, no. Yeah. So welcome to the industry. No, there's no one-on-ones. This is like an open, usually when it comes to like dancing, acting and singing. Yeah, those will be one-on-ones. But like if you're dancing, that's usually like a room where it's just all these dancers, and basically you have a number and they're saying stay or cut. You know what I mean? It's pretty.
So you guys are all dancing at the same time, and like somebody's walking around like with a little clipboard or something like. Oh, right.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, or you're like, or you do it in like small groups, right? Where they'll call your number and maybe group of 5, group of 10. You do the combination, and they will either see everyone and then say, you know, numbers blah 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 blah. Please stay. And thank you, everybody else. And usually those numbers are very like small, like 3 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Out of how many people show up? How many people is their average? Like they show up?
You know, it really depends. Like sometimes there could be, you know, over 100 dancers there auditioning.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anybody you ever seen, you was like, man, they just playing, like they not even serious about this, or is everybody there pretty much? If you
No, you don't, you come ready. You don't want to, it's a profession, just like no one's gonna, well, first of all, you have to have the caliber to be there, right? It's just like football, right? No one can just audition, or I don't even know what you say.
Well, I mean, they did. Well, I know there's a story once. Do you remember back when the NCAA was letting it was the Supreme Court ruled that you could go early to the draft? Remember that one year?
Okay.
And whatever the combine that year, you could be any age. They said those kids showing up in like jean shorts, it was like an open call thing.
They weren't ready.
No, yeah, it was like people that didn't even play in college. Like they're just like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna try.
Yeah, I mean, and that's nice, but the truth of the matter is, just like any sport, like dance is also a sport, and you train to, proficient in what you do. So when you're coming to the audition, you're going to come correct. And if not, you're going to get cut. You get cut quick. They're not here to mess around. It's a job. It's what you get paid for. It's a 52 weeks contract. You know what I mean? It's a job. It's lucrative. So yeah, but I auditioned, didn't get it first time. But what I will say is I'm thankful because the artistic director, Joan Myers Brown, saw something in me and told me to still come to company class, which was very unusual. And so what I was realizing is that she was, it was like I was apprenticing, and she was just working with me. And, after a few, like about almost 9 months of that, then auditioned again and got in the company. And then
was it kind of like an apprenticeship? It was an apprenticeship type of internship-esque thing of like, hey,
I don't know what she called it, because the company had never done it before. I think she just saw something in me and just saw that I needed just to be, honed in, molded, and understood, because I didn't come from a conservatory, right? So a lot of things about dance, you have a lot of, dancers, artists that come from conservatories that's what they went to school for. I didn't. I was at Hampton. I was in the Terpsichorean Dance Company, but I was running track, right? Wasn't taking, ballet and modern and Horton and Graham, these technical styles that usually are taught in conservatories. I wasn't doing that. I was just coming with the pure essence of I love to dance, and, but you still have to craft that technique, just like you see like a great, young basketball player, he could be great, she could be great, but she still has to, or they still have to know the skills, to be proficient in the sport. And it's the same thing with dance. So yeah, that was a little journey with dance. And I guess that's what takes me here now. That's who I am. I'm a performer. I'm an actress. I'm a dancer. I was with Philadelphia for about 8 years. And then I transitioned to musical theater. And so kind of that's where I am now. I'm about to make my Broadway debut in a new show called Paradise Square. It's gonna open in Chicago first and then come to Broadway. And I'm also making it's kind of like Broadway debut times 2, because I'm also going to be the associate choreographer for a revival called For Color Girls Who've Considered Suicide When the Rainbows.
Of course, we know that.
So it is coming to Broadway, back to Broadway.
So it's going to be a musical style this time, though, instead of a play?
So the beautiful thing about that piece by Intozaki is that it's a choreo poem. Like it's always been that. So it is a choreo poem. So I'm a part of the choreography team. I'm the associate choreographer. So it's not that it's a musical, but there is movement. It's a play, but it's a choreo poem. So that's what it's regimented as. So, you could say it's musical theater. You could say it's, a stage play, but it is a hybrid, and that's how Intozaki created it. So I'm very excited, because this is the first of all, this is the choreographer and director, her name is Camille Brown. She will be the first Black woman to ever choreograph and direct a play, a musical on Broadway in Broadway's history. So it's just an honor to be a part of that.
To do both, or to do one, both, or to do one of
both. So it's really it's very prestigious to be able to choreograph and direct a show. And as of now, no Black woman has done that.
Wow.
So I'm really excited to be a part of that experience. And also, this will be the third production in Broadway's history that features an all Black female cast. And the first was actually for Color Girls, the original.
Really?
So, exactly. So
and then what's the second? Is it Dreamgirls?
No, that's not all Black. It's
really, is Dreamgirls not all Black? Wasn't all
no,
Black?
because they're all Black female cast, but there's also
okay.
Yeah, but Dreamgirls also has, its other characters that are not Black, but no, Eclipse, it was Lupita was in it actually.
Okay.
But this was a few years ago. That production was the second, and for Color Girls, Revival will be the third. So I'm excited to be part of this history, celebrating Black excellence, Black identity, women empowerment, which needs to be seen more on Broadway. So.
Okay. I mean, because I guess it's been all Black plays in musicals on Broadway, but not an all Black woman play, basically. Not that many, you're saying, basically.
Not an all Black female cast.
Got you. Okay.
Right.
So that's like, ain't your arms too short to box with God? I thought that was one, but I was thinking all Black cast, period.
Yeah, all Black female cast.
This is dope. Okay. Okay. Is there? So let's go back even with your other plays in musicals. What is your fondest one that you've been a part of? You like, man, like this one meant a lot to me to be a part of this production.
Man, there's so many, but I will say making my Metropolitan Opera debut in Porgy and Bess. I have this thing, like I really center like my creative platform on like amplifying the narrative of Black culture, Black identity. Like, feels good to me. And a lot of times I have to admit, in the industry, there's not always space for that. And if there is, we're fighting for it. So I'm very proud of being part of productions where it's like, I get to tell the story of my ancestors, So definitely the Metropolitan Opera debut of Porgy and Bess. And another thing, is special because only one time in the Met's history, which was Porgy and Bess back in, I want to say it was even before I was born.
Yeah, it's the 70s.
30 years that Porgy and Bess was debuted at, the Metropolitan Opera House. The Metropolitan Opera House is the largest, most prestigious opera house or just venue in the world. And only one time, over 30 years ago, did they have, a Black cast on their stage that featured, Black identity.
Is this in Sydney? This is in Sydney, or is this one in Sydney?
No, it's in New York City.
It's in New York. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So they brought it back for the 2019-2020 season. And that was such a beautiful experience. It was like over 60 people on stage, and it just the voices of these, beautiful, classically trained, singers, and most of them making their Metropolitan Opera debut as well because of racism, because you know what I'm saying? It's just like,
that's racism, right.
No, literally, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, we're only gonna pick a select few principals to come to our opera house. But but Porgy and Bess, if you're not familiar with this,
that's the one that Sidney Poitier,
that's right,
Dorothy Dandridge, Sammy Davis Jr.
In the movie, yeah. But yes, it was created by the Gershwin brothers. They are pretty, well known as far as like being composers and all of that. But they're actually white men who created this musical or this opera. However, they were very adamant that going forward, as its original cast, it will only hire, Black African American, actors, singers to portray it.
Yeah.
So that has been great. But yeah, so doing that was really amazing because, it's, that t-shirt to say that I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, it's just when you get a chance to be in a place and do something that, before wasn't an opportunity, you have to honor that. You have to thank the ancestors before you for paving the way, and I do that all the time. Like, being in the positions that I am, it's not, I didn't just do it because I was able to, it's because those before me paved the way to make a space for me to live my dreams. So, you know, when I'm able to do things like that, that's great. I also loved, you know, I did a movie. I was in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I was one of the dancers. And, you know, that was really special, first and foremost, because again, Black excellence, you know.
Yep, August Wilson.
Producer, this is August Wilson's work. You know, Viola Davis is starring it. You know, the late Chadwick Boseman, you know, was extraordinary. And also George C. Wolfe, who is just an amazing director, to be in that space. And you know, again, Camille Brown, I worked with her because she was the choreographer for it. But being in that space again of like telling Black stories, being around Black excellence, that's just outstanding. And that movie was like so moving, and it was heartbreaking at the same time, because what Chadwick presented and Levy was insane, you know what I mean? Like, and also to know that was his last movie right before he passed, and just to know that I was a part of that experience with him, you know, that.
So did you get to meet everybody, or is it kind of like you? Okay.
No. I mean, it was, as you saw, it was a very intimate cast. It was literally, you know, the main characters and the 8 dancers. So it was a very, 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 very small cast. So it was a very intimate experience, and everyone was amazing and lovely and kind. And it was just, it felt home, you know, it felt home.
How was it being on that set of a basically a play converted into a movie? A lot of times, sometimes it gets lost in translation because plays a lot more exposition, things along those lines. How was that process with that you saw going from it being a play, August Wilson play, to this film?
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as the process of like actually, you know, filming it still felt like a film. You know what I mean? And it was very efficient. I mean, a lot of times, if you don't know a lot about filming, it's like, you know, you can have multiple cameras going at the same time. You can have one, it just depends on the shot. But we were hitting it, you know, the takes were quick because, you know, of the efficiency of the camera people. But George C. Wolfe is amazing. Like he just knows theater, he knows the works, and he also knows film. He knows, you know, so he knows how to make this hybrid beautiful. The same with Denzel being the producer. Like Denzel and Viola, like they come from the theater. Like theater. And you know, that's what makes them so profound. So they know what they know the authenticity that needs to be presented in this film that the theater world gets. So I think the team itself just knew how to take this play and make it still authentic and feel so vibrant, but also on the big screen having that magic, you know, that comes from film. So I think the story was told beautifully. I mean, but I think a lot of people who don't understand film, they're like, oh, they saw that a lot of the set was, or the location was the same. Because you know, but I think they did a brilliant job with you know, going inside that space to make it the dimensional feel that we want and desire.
Yeah, I mean, like people love the movie Birdman, you know, and that's all in the same space for the whole movie. And it's supposed to be one camera shot that's tracking through the whole film. So I don't see that being a, you know, issue for that film. I love the film, and Chadwick should have got the Oscar for, but you know, that is what it is, you know.
Man,
racism.
Right. You know,
and that racism was real ill because they let that category be the last one. It was like, oh, so they're gonna do that to try to do the last category with Chadwick winning to go out, you know. And you present that it's usually best picture last.
Yeah, it's controversial. So I did read an article that was saying that even before, you know, Chadwick passing, that they were wanting to close with that because of the popularity, right? However, over time too, because of Chadwick passing and, you know, of course, his wife accepting the speech, and because when she speaks, we all listen and she shuts it down. You know, they were concerned that how do you proceed with other categories after that? So that's also one of the reasons why they left it there. That is what they're saying, you know. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. And look, the crazy thing is that Anthony Hopkins killed it in his film, though. So it's not like they gave it to you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say nobody and diss nobody, but anybody just random to get it.
Yeah, and you know, hey, whatever they thought, but you know, at the end of the day, Chadwick is my hero. He is many people's heroes, and the way he literally threw himself in that role, you know, you can't walk away from it without feeling, right? And supposed to do with art, like I call it art activism. Like, you know, yes, you can, you know, we can be funny, we can be all these things, but when you're an artist, it's your job to like tell the stories that have not been told, tell the stories, tell the truths, you know, make people feel, make people think. And he did all of that. So he did his job. And again, he's my hero.
So let's transition a little bit. So now you become an author. So now you use the track star, then you dancing, acting, and Ma Rainey's Black Bottle, and then you want to add on it being an author. So let's dive into this.
Yo, you know it. You make my life feel like it's just so amazing. And I'm gonna. It
is though. It is. You know that's why this whole show is about getting people their flowers for the dope stuff they're doing. And,
I'm gonna take it, but you know, sometimes it's hard to digest because it's not that easy, right?
And you're living it. So it's like,
yeah, I'm living it. I cry, I have attacks, I have anxiety attacks, you know, I feel unseen, unheard, you know, all of these things. But the way you present it, I just want to say thank you, because it is a reminder of like life is moving, and God has definitely showed me such grace and mercy and favor. But yes, an author. I still gag a little bit about that. So interesting, because in tandem with me being a performer, I want to say actually starting it in Philadelphia at Philadenko, this is where the idea came. So a lot of my friends are part of the ballroom scene. So if you don't know a little bit about the ballroom scene, that, you know, you've seen it on Pose, of course, legendary now.
Oh, I thought you were supposed to say ballroom. What was the movie with
Paris is Burning?
No, Antonio Banderas, and where they was doing the ballroom dancing. What?
Oh no.
That's what that's what I said. I was like, oh, ballroom, yeah, the Antonio Banderas.
Oh no, I'm about.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean now.
I'm about to teach. So
educate us, because I was thinking Antonio Banderas' movie.
No. So a lot of my friends are part of the ballroom scene, the Black ballroom scene, right?
Oh, stop. Didn't they used to have that at Spruce back in the day here in St. Louis?
Probably, yeah. St. Louis has a scene.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember I used to hear. Yes, it used to be at Spruce. I know people. It's a hood club, but for some reason they used to have this ballroom thing. It was an annual thing at Spruce.
Yeah. So so a little bit about that, a little more about the ballroom scene. We know it more so for its language. So when we hear shade, read, what's the T? And it's T, capital T, not TEA. But
so people change that?
I'm gonna talk about it.
Okay, go ahead, spill it.
So I say, you know, a lot of my friends are part of that. So just learning and hearing words that I was just so curious about learning more, right? Like, what does it mean? Where does it come from? The etymology, like how did it evolve? Things like that. And I started just really being curious about it. And I would just keep asking, what does this mean? And what does that mean? And when I would listen, I'm like, oh, so it means this. And I would kind of regurgitate with this academic definition. And we thought it was kind of funny. And then I was like, yo, there's so many words, and there just needs to be a dictionary for these words. And a friend was like, well, okay, well, when you write it, challenging me, right?
When you get it done, let me know.
When you write it, then call it the Queen's English. I said, oh yeah, okay. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, but it was a passion behind learning words, language, why language is created, why language shapes culture. And it's one of those things that, you know, language is language. Some people call it slang because it's not scholarly, but language is language. Language is created to articulate experiences, ideas, feelings, identities that mainstream just doesn't have the words for. And so, you know, language is created, language shapes culture, as we even know in our Black American culture that we have language that we get, it's our culture codes, and it shapes our values, our truth, you know, our identity. And I was kind of like diving into that with the ballroom scene, but then also being an artist and again, transitioning to musical theater like that, I was stepping into a lot of different cultures, right? And I want to say different cultures when I say the LGBTQIA plus community, right? I also am a bisexual woman, so I created this dictionary to, what is this? The author, right? So I created a dictionary. It's called
you spit it, keep going.
Right. It's called the Queen's English. It's the LGBTQIA plus Dictionary of Lingo and Colloquial Phrases. And this is a dictionary that celebrates over 800 terms used to describe our collective gay and queer experiences, to dive into the vastness and the diversity of human identity, whether we're talking about someone's gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, romantic orientation, and also your sexual anatomy. It is to dive into all identities and the diversity of communities that live within this larger umbrella. So it's not just, you know, the white gay scene, but what does the Black gay scene look like? What is the, you know, AAPI queer scene looks like? What is the youth?
What is the AAPI? Explain. I mean,
so AAPI means, it means Asian, so AAPI. So Asian American Pacific
Islander. Got you. I knew it. I was one of these people.
Yeah. I had to like, Asian American Pacific Islander.
Yep.
But also what does like the Muslim queer scene look like? What does, you know, just that kind of intersectionality with identity, because a lot of times, well, first, two things. A lot of times you don't necessarily have resources that dive into the spectrum of identity. And if it does talk, and when I say spectrum, it is that. It's not just about, you know, being heterosexual or being cisgender. What is cisgender? Cisgender just means like whatever the doctor assigned you at birth, check girl, check boy, that's how you still identify. And when you don't, that is called transgender. However, and both are valid, you know what I mean? It's just the thing that doctors usually assign check girl, check boy based on your sexual anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
But that isn't often, that does not necessarily determine who a person is. Your sexual anatomy does not determine who a person is, again. Right. And we also have to realize that sexual anatomy is not just sex characteristics of what is traditionally masculine or what is traditionally feminine or female, but is also a variation of both, and that is what intersex is. Intersex, we know that because we used to use this word that is just actually out of date and we shouldn't anymore, but it's called hermaphrodite, but that's not what you call individual, it is intersex.
No, it's funny you said that because I was reading and I was like, oh wow, okay, that's, I mean who just uses that word in general anymore? I mean, I just feel like the word is just not used as much.
Well,
doesn't make sense.
Evolution, visibility, affirming and celebrating. You know what I mean? Like words are created that are not affirming. You know what I mean? Then words are created so that it is affirming. So that's what this dictionary is truly about. It's about celebrating the language, celebrating the people, the stories, the identity, and the pride. And I created it first, you know, back in 2006 when I started it, was to really celebrate and give visibility and credibility to the ballroom scene, you know, to Black gay men, you know, to the Black gay scene, for language that they create that gets appropriated, you know, into you know, mainstream society, you know what I mean, and often misused. But to just give credit where credit is due. I also wanted to create this because, you know, I just wanted to find something that helped me, you know, figure out who I am and my identity, right? So learning words like heteroflexible and bicurious and, you know, demisexual.
Explain that for people. I mean, I've read your book.
Yeah,
so,
So I'll finish, like, but just learning the progression of like my identity, like understanding like back in the day, like, Chloe, maybe you were heteroflexible meaning like you're heterosexual, you haven't had necessarily any experience, like same-sex or queer experiences, but, you know, it's not like you look down on it, but it's just, it hasn't happened, to being like bi-curious, to being like, you know, particularly me, because I identify as female and woman, you know, if I see, you know, another female woman and I'm like, you know, she's pretty, you know what I mean? Like, are you interested, Chloe? You know what I mean? Like having that happen, like in college, but still kind of like, I don't know, right? Because our heteronormative society was heteronormative. It just means like the normativity of our society is based in this idea and principle that someone has to be heterosexual and has to be cisgender to be heard, seen, valued, appreciated. If not, then you are other, right? You know, and feeling uncomfortable, like, okay, well, I'm not supposed to like another girl, right? To being like, well, I like a girl, I do. I actually love her, but I'm scared I can like her in spaces that, you know, affirm this, but I feel scared if I'm in spaces that doesn't affirm this. So you can call that like closeted or semi-closeted, right?
So that's the when the down low is as they say for the
I mean, you know, yeah, you could say that, but
I mean, I guess it's not down low if you're out, you're just not saying nothing.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's different when someone is visible, like in settings, like if you're in a, you know, in a setting that like affirms your identity, yeah, you feel good about it. You know, it's not that you're on the download, no, you're here, but then when you're in spaces that don't affirm that, then you're kind of like, okay, I'll be quiet. You know what I mean? So it's not about, down low's a little different. Down low is, and we also have to be careful with these terms we want to say. Like I said, words can empower and hurt at the same time. But down low was created in a way where particularly there were men, black men, I'm not gonna call them gay, but black men who wanted to have, whether it be romantic or sexual relationships with other men, but not open and honest with their primary partner, who was oftentimes a woman, like a cisgender woman. And so, and you're not being honest about that type of affair. That is where down low came from, not necessarily from someone who is just wanting to celebrate or affirm or be authentic in who they are, but scared to do it in a heteronormative society. Those are two different things. You know, sometimes down low is associated because you have a partner that you're not being honest with. That's the difference. Not just someone who just like, I don't have a partner. My partner is actually someone who I love or desire, but society doesn't want to accept that.
So did they, I mean, this, because which one came first, the R. Kelly song or the term down low? I just never knew the etymology of like how.
You know what? I really don't know.
I've always thought like, which one came first? And maybe we just didn't know that like T and Reed. I didn't know that was coming from that ballroom scene. Yeah, exactly. So was it already been a term in the early 90s?
Yeah, no, the T and Shade came from the late 60s.
Wow.
Yes, like this language has history. And I think that's the other thing too. Well, let me finish out with myself. So we're trying to create, you know, a dictionary that that helps me and like understand who I am. And then so now I just truly advocate for having those like deeper conversations around diversity, inclusion, you know, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, because, you know, we all evolve, we all grow. We don't all have to fit in this box. And just because we were like this in one part of our lives doesn't mean we're going to be like that in our later part of our lives. And so I try to encourage people to, wherever you identify along the spectrum, just to dive deeper into you know what I mean? Because it's not just about, like I said, it can be relationship orientation. Like, are you poly? You know, do you believe only in monogamy? Are you open? Based on your partner, will it be flexibility? Based on your sexual relationship, is it kink? Is it fetish? You know, is it?
But those are conversations people don't want to have, Chloe.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, identity is all of that. It's all of that. It's all of what your makeup is, and it's okay to have conversations about it. It's okay to feel good about who you are, what you like, and what you don't like. It's okay.
So it's ill you saying this. So I literally came back from Iowa before we did this from work, and one of because I went to college, so a lot of my friends are up there still. So one of my friends, he's dating a lesbian woman, and it was ill having a conversation with her yesterday at dinner because she was saying basically she's in love with my friend, but she does identify as lesbian. She was like, but I'm not What is it? Oh man.
First of all, you never put labels on people.
Right. That's what she said. That's exactly what she says. Because I said did you watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Oh man, I'm trying to.
I've seen some episodes, but I'm not like I'm not like. I mean, I think it's a great show, but
yeah, I read the book and I watched the
second.
show. I did the whole. I was nerded out on it. But pansexual. So I said, "Are you pansexual then?" And she was like, "No, I don't like that term, like that in general." You know, I was like, if you had to define it, I guess if you had to define, like, put me in a box, she said, I'm a lesbian woman, but I'm in love with a man.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, and we have to all respect that. But I was going to say there is a term in the dictionary called lesbian flexible or lesbi flexible, right?
It's the opposite of hetero flexible, where it's
that's right. And you can have homo flexible, lesbi flexible, yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those things. But however she identifies as exactly that. If she says, I'm a lesbian, but I'm just in love with this man, this is what it is.
Yeah, and she was like, basically it's a narrative that people are scared of when it comes to like all these questions you're saying, like to being poly or being, is like, it's just a narrative that we put on ourselves.
Yeah, also it's, again, being in this, what is normal? What is normativity? And unfortunately, it is what is the majority, what is whoever holds the power says what is right and what is not. And that's unfortunate because that's not a true depiction of identity, right? It leaves out people, it leaves out minority identities, it leaves out Blackness, it leaves out, Latino, Latina, Latinx, it leaves out the AAPI, it leaves out the disabled, it leaves out, the immigrants, it just leaves out people. Right. And so I think with the dictionary, I wanted to not do that. I wanted it to be from a very inclusive view, from a very inclusive lens for that, wherever you are, however you identify, hopefully you see yourself in the book. That was where it was coming from. And it was the opportunity to just sit with so many people and talk about stories, talk about language, how it affirms, how it doesn't, how it challenges, to learn more about history, LGBTQIA plus history, but honestly, to learn more about Black history. And that's what I'm saying. The ballroom scene is part of Black history, regardless if you want to acknowledge it or not. It is. It just is. Like, the ballroom scene actually was created in Harlem and New York City in the late 1960s, early 1970s, because Crystal LaBeija, this Black woman, she was a drag queen, but trans woman. And you call them femme queens. That's what in the ballroom scene, when they compete in balls, it's femme queen. But she was tired of like these drag balls these drag pageants that had this like white narrative. They were white drag queens, and she was like, I'm over this shit. You know what I mean?
They playing Aerosmith at theirs, and they want to hear Marvin Gaye.
Well, it's just one of those things where it's like, no matter how beautiful you are, you're just not going to acknowledge my Black beauty, and she was tired of that. So she said, I'm going to start my own. And so that's how the ballroom scene was created, to be able for drag queens of color, whether you be Black, whether you be, Latina, Latino, Latinx, to be able to have a space that's affirming, that celebrates who you are and all of your identity, whether, you're gay, whether you're trans or whatever. And also from that, building this house culture. So that's when you hear houses like House of LaBeija or House of Anza, but you're building these houses because what we have to realize is that a lot of young people, wherever you are, whether you Black, white, wherever, but a lot of young people are not supported because of their gender identity and gender identity expression, sexual orientation by their biological family. And a lot of people are put out, they're rejected from their family, sometimes even abused, violent, have violence placed against them. And so what the ballroom scene did, particularly for, the Black and Latinx scene, children were to like build and foster this family environment where they could thrive. So that's why you do have the house mother and the house father and the children. This was a house structure to truly mentor these young people and have them grow up in a space where they feel their most authentic selves and be celebrated in that. So beyond the language, we have to talk about the history and the reason for it. Like, the ballroom scene is not just about cat. It's not all it's more than that. It is about really having a safe space for people of color. You know what I mean? Like, for the gay, the trans, the bi, the queer, the non-binary scene, to be celebrated, to not deal with homophobia and transphobia and racism. And, our Black community also, we got to do better. We don't want to talk about it, but we also have to stop against this homophobia and transphobia we give our Black, gay, and queer brothers and sisters. We have to stop. So especially if we're going to take their language, like Real Housewives, we're going to talk all day about, what's the T?
Yeah.
TEA, it's T with a capital T because it means truth. It means what's the truth?
What's the truth?
That's where it came from. What's the truth? Not what's the T, not what's sipping tea, but what's the truth? What's the T? All tea, all truth, right? So that's where that comes from.
Like, did you see Lovecraft Country, the TV show?
I loved it.
Yeah. So it was that factual that because he was in a ballroom scene?
Let's go back. Yes, let me talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Harlem Renaissance. Well, first of all, gay people, queer people, trans people, bi people. It's always been here. It's just
always
visible, and so that's why also language was created to be saved, to be protected, because it was illegal. It was illegal to be a cross-dresser. It was illegal to have same-sex relationships. It was illegal. So of course, another thing too, language was created for protection. But let's talk about the more Black history. So when we talk about Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston and Josephine Baker and Ethel Waters and Ma Rainey and Alan Locke and Richard Nugent, right? These were gay, bi, queer people. And we don't celebrate them. We celebrate them for being Black and excellent and, vibrant and prolific writers and artists and dancers and musicians. But we don't want to talk about that they were gay and bi and queer. We don't want to talk about that. Why don't we do that?
I was reading, they said Langston Hughes may have been asexual, not even.
Sure, however, whatever, but
yeah, but we don't celebrate their whole being of who they are, just their art.
That's right. You know what I mean? And that's problematic. And so, when we in the life, in the closet, these words are over a century old and they came from the Harlem Renaissance.
Okay.
Gram, hype, reefa, over a century old and came from the Harlem Renaissance, right?
I know Reefa did.
Yeah, okay. but these words, were part of like this vibe. And in the Harlem Renaissance, we talk about drag balls, but also faggot balls, right? And there were places where, it's kind of like what you saw the ballroom scene, but it was during the 1920s because they had the dance, they had the music, they had the ambiance and the effect, and it was so celebrated that over 3,000 people would come to these faggot balls.
Wow.
At the Hamilton Lounge or the Savoy Club, right? They would come and see it because they wanted to see what. So
was it the Savoy, the Savoy, the famous Savoy?
Yeah. In New York City, in Harlem, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's also part of Black history and Black culture that we don't necessarily dive into, but I think it's really important. We don't want to create erasure, right? Just like we're Juneteenth, right? And understanding, that story, we're learning, more. Well, some people are learning more about what happened with the Tulsa massacre, but just because people didn't know about it didn't mean it didn't happen. And I think it's like history's there. Just because you weren't aware of it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And we have to learn more about it so we don't forget it and we create erasure and we create this narrative that's just not right, right? So, knowing more about the Harlem Renaissance and what it did and that like gayness and queerness was definitely a heartbeat of it. It's this quote I love that, the Harlem Renaissance was just as gay as it was Black. So we have to, I think the most important thing is I want to share stories, but I want to share Black stories. I want to share like the essence of who we are and all of our greatness. I want to uplift everybody regardless of their identity. And so that was another reason why it was important to write this dictionary. I started off with the ballroom scene, but then I kept going down the rabbit hole and I was like, oh, wow, the Harlem Renaissance, and learning more about my culture, and wanting to teach that, to everyone, and wanting to also say, like, there's this big part in the dictionary. It says, which the dictionary is very colorful and vibrant and fun, but they have usage notes. So I will say, like, this term originated in Black American culture and has been appropriated by, and commonly used in the gay and queer community, but has been appropriated by mainstream culture or the LGBTQIA plus community at large. I put that in there because, appropriation is real. Appropriation is in our language and our clothing and our style and our dance, and our hairstyles, you know. And I'm
Did you see that thing with the TikTok kids are all? Oh, so okay, you just went. Okay, I just saw that this morning.
Again, appropriation.
Yeah.
It's unfair. It's unfair. Like, you know, our creativity is so vast and broad and beautiful and dynamic and flourishing, but it's always taken away from us. And I was like, you know what? I have this platform, and I'm going to make sure for these words, and I did it for everything, whether it be from the Black American you know, culture, from the ballroom scene, from the Black gay scene, Black lesbian scene, or from the aromantic, asexual scene, or the non-binary scene. You know, I made sure to say this word was, you know, originated from the scene, or this word was is commonly used in this community. You know, I made sure to write that down because, you know, mainstream as a whole has this idea to say, oh, we'll take it. Don't acknowledge, you don't acknowledge where it comes from, and that creates erasure. You know what I mean? Like on TikTok, yeah, you know, these young Black you know, artists are like, we not creating no more. You know, you create your own stuff, and you can't, right? Because you're always taking shit. Always. I mean, our music, it can go on and on and on. And I think with this dictionary, it was twofold. It was a celebration of truly what the, you know, the spectrum of identity looks like, but it's also a celebration of Blackness and Black gayness and Black queerness and just, you know, Black transness, and just making sure the world understands the many stories, you know, because it's important.
How's the response been for your book? You feel like, how to, like, if you, are some people in the LGBT community like, you giving up all the goods, that's supposed to be on the low. That was our kind of language on the low. You giving out, you diming us out.
No, you know, it's funny. I keep getting asked that question, but
okay. So I'm not the, because I feel like there's sometimes with Black terminology, I feel like sometimes we've let too much language that's internal leak out to everyone, where some things
write it down. Write it down. Let me tell you something. First of all, I've received so many great reviews, so many affirming reviews, because, and honestly, my journey has been nothing but affirming because of the sensitivity that I took in making sure that it was done right. Like the book has gone through so many different sensitivity reads from the people in the community to say, does this feel affirming? Does this feel right? What do we need to add? And first and foremost, like in my introduction, I say that this language is not to be used flippantly. And if you're not part of the community, it is not for you to use, period.
Right.
You to understand the dynamic and vastness of, again, human identity. This is a book for understanding. This is a book for those who want to understand themselves more, want to understand their loved ones, want to be better allies, want to have deeper conversations with DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. So this book has gotten a lot of praise, and I'm very happy about it. I'm even excited that it's even in the UK and in Europe. It just released this month. So no, this book is celebrated because it was done right, as the best I could. I'm very sensitive about making sure the information in there is authentic, is right. So that's why you have these usage notes, and you to say that this term is pejorative, or this term may be considered derogatory, or this term, you know, was once derogatory but has been reclaimed, or this term should only be used if a person identifies as such. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a dictionary, but it's instructions, you know. But it's also dives into like helping, you know, those who need more gender affirming practices to stand firm in themselves, to learn how to tuck, to learn how to bind. Like, who's having these conversations? If you don't have
nobody is.
Exactly. If you don't have a mentor to help you along this journey, which happens a lot, then you know what's happening. You know what I mean? So this is.
I know all the listeners are like, tuck and bind. I don't even know. I mean, I know, but I'm like,
yeah. So and that's the thing. You have to, you know, you have to get the dictionary. But I'm just talking about you know, things that help us just stand firm in who we are. But I was saying about Black language, right? So did do in this dictionary, anytime something came from Black American culture, inclusiveness and the inclusiveness of being gay, bi, trans, or queer, you know, you don't dismantle your identity of your sexual orientation and gender identity just because you're Black. And I think we have a problem with that. You know, we'll say if words came from the Black American culture and commonly used in the gay and queer scene, I will say that, you know what I mean? But I will say, so this book is published by Clarkson Potter, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House. I will say that I was I was asked to cite sources as to where my Black American language came from. I'm not lying. I was asked, well, where are the sources? So this is why I say we got to write shit down, because no, thank God. So I live in New York, the Schomburg Center, which is amazing. I was able to find only two, but I was able to find 2 dictionaries where I can go up, flip through and say, ooh, coin came from da 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 da. Yes, and it was, you know, Black American, or or used within the Harlem Renaissance, Black gay scene. I was able to see that, you know what I mean? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, but there were 2 dictionaries, one written in, I want to say, like the 80s, you know, one in the 70s, you know, but where's the dictionary now? Where's the dictionary in 2021? I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to write it. I don't know.
Maybe you are. That's the second one.
But what I'm saying is we do have to write things down. We do have to claim what's ours, because things keep taken away because of this way America works, or the world works. You have to write it down. It has to be scholarly. It has to be academic for it to be right. And I do want to dismantle that stigma, because that is unfortunate. That is not fair. But we do have to own what's ours, like make it a copyright, trademark it, books, put the stamp on it, because sometimes you got to play by the damn rules, play by so you can break them. So then you can create the rules, you know, and that's what it is. Like, things have been taken away from us because we haven't had the opportunity, not because we're not capable, but because, you know, because of racism, because of marginalization and oppression, we haven't had the opportunity to, you know, be in these spaces to write and to publish our own things and to say, no, this is the way, you know what I mean? Like, this is the new Black Renaissance is happening now. And we all just need to really make sure that we're a part of it, and making sure, like, we do things to say, no, this is ours. This is our stamp. This is our trademark. This is our writing. This is, you know, this is our music. We have to do it, because people are going to keep stealing our shit.
That's true. That's real.
As on TikTok, you know, like, what can we do to protect those young artists, those young Black artists? Like, what can we do? We got to figure it out, because there's no way that the brainchild is this Black, beautiful body, but the one who's making millions doesn't look like the originator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not fucking fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, no, that's real. I mean, that you're like the third person that said, like, writing stuff down makes anything official that I've literally heard in the last week.
And that's why I said it's going to be a dictionary. And it's going to be a dictionary, but it's also going to be an encyclopedia. It's going to be a history book. I did it all, because if I had a platform, I just wanted to make sure, like, it's stamped. Now people know this word came from the Black gay scene. Now people know that this has been appropriated from Black American culture.
Has anyone challenged you? Like, no, that didn't come from, that came from Leroy in Texas on the 15th of June. You know, he was.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what sensitivity reads are for, right?
Yeah.
That's what I had so many sensitivity reads prior to that, you know, because I want to get that all out the way. You know, of course, there's other interpretations, and guess what? They're valid, they're fair, they're honest. This is my brain, my support system, you know, but there's so many other words, there's so many other ways and views to look at it, but I did the best that I can do, and I feel good about what I accomplished. So yes, I feel like there's always going to be challenges. Why not? Thank you. And because of those challenges, it made it better. It made me dig even harder. It made me go to the Schomburg and say, okay, you want a quote, you want a source? I'm gonna give you a source on page 554. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And that's okay. I'll do the work. You know, this wasn't something that I joked about. Like, this is my passion. You know what I mean? I worked 15 years on this, right? So I wasn't trying to come with mess, but I'm also an artist, and I understand there's always going to be criticism, and that's fine. I understand that, but as long as the book is getting in the hands of people that need it, that want it, that deserve the recognition, that deserve to be seen, that deserve the visibility, that want to dive deeper into the people they love, to dive deeper into themselves, then that's valid. That's all I need. So criticism, sure. But if I'm getting emails and texts from people, you know, literally around the world saying, thank you, I feel seen, or this helped me, you know, navigate where I want to go in life, or this helps me understand my trans son or my trans daughter, you know what I mean? I'm good. I did my work.
You did. No, I mean, that's the first one that I've seen is yours. So you have the definitive, people will be sourcing your book now of like, you know, this came from this. And then, you know, obviously they can go back and source, you know, along the way, man. And this is also, where can they get the book at? Like, where can they get it?
Yeah, so of course, visit the website www.thequeensenglishus.com or follow us at the Queen's English US. But you can get that at any Barnes and Noble, any local bookstore. I know in St. Louis it's at Left Bank Books.
Yep.
It's at the Barnes and Noble Ladue location. I actually signed some copies, but I don't know if they're there still. You can definitely, of course, order it on Amazon. It's there. But yeah, any of your local bookstores, and if they don't have it, even at your library, you can check it out at the library. But if it's not there, tell them to order it, and definitely, use it as a tool to learn about yourself, learn about the people you love. Use it as a tool in your, educational institutions, your schools, and definitely at your jobs. I mean, this type of conversation needs to happen.
All right, so this is our last part. I play a little game called This or That. You get two choices of two different things. You only can choose one. Maybe three sometimes, depends on, my questions vary from guest to guest. All right, first one. Emos or Chinese food, St. Louis Chinese food?
St. Louis Chinese food. Look, I travel around the world and nobody got Chinese.
I've had arguments when I lived in New York with people all the time. I'm trying to tell you.
First of all, I need my red pepper, and I also need my sweet and sour sauce. Sweet and sour sauce. So yes, when I come home, I'm like, Daddy, can we order some Chinese food? So
Chinese food over emos.
Yeah, I didn't really like emos. Not gonna lie, I didn't really.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Next, juice or above the rim?
Oh man,
I kept them two New York movies. I flipped it up, two New York movies.
I don't know. I mean, it's like juice because it's just like, now you got the juice. You know what I mean? Maybe juice. I'll say juice.
Okay. All right. Dream Girls or Porgy and Bess?
Dang, you can't do that.
I had that written down before you even talked about it because I was thinking of like black musicals.
Gosh, I don't know. I can't pick.
You got to choose one.
I can't. I mean, because first of all, summertime came from Porgy and Bess. That is the most popular song, Porgy and Bess, because summertime is the most popular song in the world.
Okay, so over Dream Girls. All right.
Sampled. Yeah, so I'm going with Porgy and Bess.
All right. Carmen or Stormy Weather?
Stormy Weather, because I love Catherine Dunham.
Okay. All right. This is one a musical one, so be ready. All right. Jay-Z or Nas?
I love Jay. Okay.
All right. Anita Baker or Sade?
Okay, Sade, we have the same birthday.
Okay.
Same birthday, January 16th. But Anita Baker, let me tell you, my mama only listened to Anita Baker all throughout my life. So when we're driving in the car,
hey man, I see. If I heard it come from my mama room, I know she was going through some things.
Right.
I was like, look, I don't go in there.
Yeah, that's all there, but I'm gonna go with Sade.
All right. Different World or Cosby Show?
A Different World.
Okay, because you went to Hampton HBCUs.
I do love show too, though.
Howard or Hampton?
Huh?
Howard or Hampton?
You know the real HU is Hampton. Hey, Hampton.
The real. I mean, it's a lot of Howard listeners. I don't know where they going.
And guess what, Howard? Guess what? The real HU is Hampton. However, even though I already know the history, so don't come with me. But I will say though, Howard is killing it right now, with having Felicia Rashad as the new dean, naming their liberal arts program after Chadwick. I think that's excellent. Howard is definitely on the map. Keep going. But I went to Hampton, so the real HU is Hampton University.
All right. London and Sons or C&K Barbecue? This is only the St. Louis people.
London and Sons.
London says you didn't like that. Is that too old?
That's okay. I like what is it? Roper's ribs.
Roper's ribs.
Give me that. I would have went with Roper's ribs.
Roper's ribs. Okay. So north side or south side?
Or Mother's fish.
Oh, Mother's. Yeah. There's a Mother's in Clayton now.
Yes. They said we want your money too.
And I think that's the most beautiful thing ever, that Mother's is in the middle of downtown Clayton.
We want your money too.
It's nice too. I've been in there. It's nice.
That's nice. Let's make the cities nice too.
Yeah. But this is the last one. This is probably maybe the hardest one, potentially.
Okay.
All right. Catherine Dunham or Fatima Robinson?
Catherine Dunham.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
No Fatima Robinson without Catherine Dunham.
Okay. I thought I was doing old school versus new school.
No, let me tell you something about Catherine Dunham. Like Catherine Dunham.
Pride of East St. Louis?
Yeah, well, yes, but she, Chicago actually.
Yeah.
But we love her too. But no, Catherine Dunham paved the way for any Black woman to choreograph dance, period. Catherine Dunham went into segregated spaces, and the reason why, many places Blacks can sit amongst, even in the time of segregation, Blacks can sit in the front seats because Catherine Dunham said, I'm not going to perform unless, this happens. So no, Catherine Dunham, and this is the thing too, I want to say, no, Fatima Robinson, I think is great. She's doing an amazing job, and she also is laying, the groundwork for those to come after her. But what we always have to remember to do is honor those who came before us. We have to tell the history. We have to know that we didn't get here by ourselves. It is because those before us, laid the groundwork, laid the foundation, did that hard work. And so now it's our time to do the hard work too. But Catherine Dunham, people have to continue to pay her dues. And if we don't say her name, then people are not going to say her name. So we have to keep doing it. So, I will say her name.
All right, well, Catherine Dunham versus Alvin Ailey then in another match.
Yeah.
You still gonna go with Catherine Dunham?
Yeah.
Okay, no, man. I'm just trying to stretch you out and see.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ailey too. You know what I mean? And again, he stands on the shoulders of her, and the Camille Browns and Fatima and all of these other amazing choreographers will stand on the shoulders of him. But I think it's beautiful that what he created, and also Judith Jamison taking it to this way that now Alvin Ailey is like, it is internationally known. It is the dance company for the world, and it represents, Black faces. So I think that's important. So it's hard to say which one is which, but I still go back to Catherine Dunham.
All right, this is my last one. I just looked at it. This is you have to choose three people. You're in a dance off against another set of people, and you have to choose three different dancers to join you, three different styles. One has to be jazz dance, one person ballet, and one person hip hop. Who you choosing for your squad?
I would just, honestly, look, I'm part of this company called Camille Brown and Dance.
You just gonna go to your company for your
yeah, we so fucking legit. Yes, anybody in this company. Give me Camille, give me Mike J, give me Kat.
And we good.
Give me Malik, give me Winston, give me Jay. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Turbo or something from Breaking. Like, let me get Turbo.
No, I'm in a wonderful, we're actually in this creative, as I put my hair, we're actually in a creative residency right now. No, they're absolutely amazing. I feel like my coworkers are brilliant. So I would
take your dance company. And what's that dance company again? For people can check it out. Check y'all out.
Oh, so it's Camille A. Brown and Dancers, CABD.org, I believe, or Camille A. Brown and Dancers.org, one or the other. I don't know. But
so in this dance off versus these random people in the alley, you're just bringing your dance company to this dance battle,
and we'll kill it.
So, but they're battling though, so they out there,
and we'll kill it.
So y'all got the battle.
Yeah,
so think about the way I envision it, like Beach Street. The subway scene in Beach Street, like that. That's in my mind. That's why I was thinking, like,
yeah.
Beach Street.
One thing I want to say too about the new age dancers. Particularly if you come from Black dance, Ronald K. Brown, that's another company too. but you know, you have to be diverse. Like you have to know ballet and jazz and point and, you know, African and hip hop and salsa and merengue and all of you just have to be diverse. So, you know, that's our base. We know how to do it all. We, you know, I love it. My rehearsal director just passed away. Her name is Deborah Chase.
God bless.
Thank you. But she always says, change your hat, change your costume, because that's what you have to do. You know, change your hat, change your costume. Like, what is it? What is this giving? What is it? What style is it giving? You know, all of that. So.
Well, Chloe, I've learned a lot from this conversation. You didn't drop some jewels on people. I'm sure people will love this conversation. Where can people hit you up online as well and follow you and check you out?
My personal IG is Nez _Davis. The book's IG is at the Queen's English US. And then of course the website www.
Did somebody else have that before you had to put US? Did somebody else have the
thing? Yeah, someone had the Queen's English. So I thought, I was like, oh, for the US, but now the book is in the UK and Europe. So now it's the Queen's English us.
Yes. Oh, so you changed it to us.
Us, yeah, us. Us. The Queen's English us.
And so when is, because before we started, you got Broadway coming back up. What is that again for people?
So so if you're in the Chi-Town, I will we start rehearsal, I think September 14th, but we'll be in Chicago. I don't know, don't get me lying about the dates, but it will be, I think, like a November to late December run, or late October to December run. And then we head to Broadway in February of 2022.
Okay. We need to get you a Quofi, man, and get you over at the Muni.
Oh, well, you know, I love the Muni. No, I've performed at the Muni many times. So.
Oh, I didn't know you performed at the Muni. Okay.
Yeah, I performed at the Muni too. I did, let's see, I did the Wiz there. I did their 100th anniversary gala, and I also did All Shook Up.
Okay, sweet. Chloe, thank you for doing this. This has been awesome. I appreciate the time you gave to me with this. This is awesome, man. I think people are gonna learn a lot, and y'all gonna go cop the book. And I'm just a regular smegular cisgender brother, and I enjoyed the book.
Because who came to my book signing in Louis? Shout out to my Tara, but blush makeup on the boulevard. That face beat. But no, thank you for coming. No, I think that is a testament, like, of the support. Like, this is something for us all to learn. You know, it's not taboo, y'all. It's life.
And you don't have to read it in your own, like, in the corner, like, man, hold on.
No, and it's beautiful. It's a very, like, visually stimulating book. It's colorful, it has illustrations, you know.
Yeah, so once again, go cop the book, y'all. Go get this woman's book. And check it out. It's good. It's good. Thank you, Chloe, once again.
All righty. Well, I love you. I appreciate you. I'm so proud of you for all you're doing.
Thank you. I'm just a couple of steps away from whatever that may be.
No, you're not trying. You're doing.
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real.